閉ざされた空、その鍵を壊せばそう握られた刃はまだ持て余されて加速する共鳴が言霊を脈打たせてくあが注がれた光の雨瞳に映ったこの世界を守るため
Welcome. Welcome back, everyone. Today is a wonderful, wonderful event. I see some people saying that I'm late. What are you talking about? We started like 20 seconds early just for you guys. And today's event is with Alex, wonderful CEO of PolkaFantasy.
Hi.
Alex, it's so exciting to have you here, man. Like I know we just spent the last 15 minutes talking, basically going over
Yep.
some PolkaFantasy stuff, and I'm excited. I'm excited every time we have these type of events.
Thank you.
But I have been a huge anime fan for a very long
Mm-hmm.
period of time, and I've fallen
Yes.
completely head over heels with your art. So I
Thank you.
think it goes without being said that I am one of the biggest Noi fanboys, who's the lead artist for ChainGuardians.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have come the closest to Noi's art in terms of my enjoyability. So that is a huge compliment. And
Thank you.
as you can see in the background, I mean, we're talking about my leaves, but look at your background. I think everyone can take a moment to realize just how incredible your background is there,
Yeah,
Alex.
and there is a castle in the middle.
Yeah.
I hide the castle.
Hey, Alex, do a couple like hip thrusters each direction so we can see it. There you go.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
By the end of the live
It
stream,
is.
if you
It
do a
is.
couple of those, by the end of the live stream, we'll have a good image of it, and you'll feel a nice oblique burn by the time we get done. A little mini
Yeah.
workout. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. As always, my name is Ben, Chief Communications Marketing Officer at Chain Guardians. Alex, CEO, as I've already introduced, of Polka Fantasy. And we are
Yep.
going to have a very action packed type of live stream. As always, we give stuff away. So hopefully your KuCoin accounts
Mm.
are ready because we start with some good giveaways on the KuCoin.
Yep.
Go claim your stuff. It's good stuff. CGG, as you know, good stuff. Does a lot of things. And just like we're doing today, a lot of things. Alex, while everyone's claiming their CGG, why don't you spend a couple moments just introducing yourself and kind of talking about your blockchain experience? When did you
Yeah.
join? How did
Mm.
you come to fruition? How did you come to your position? And we'll go from there.
Okay, sure, sure. Yeah, first of all, it's my honor to be with such amazing communities, and I always enjoy every aspect of Chain Guardian. So it's really my honor and my deepest pleasure for being with the amazing team here. So I'm Alex, the CEO and founder of Polka Fantasy, and how I joined blockchain is very interesting. I actually, to keep the long story short. After I work in one of the top Japanese game studio in Japan, I have an opportunity to work with one of the top 10 crypto projects in the world. I won't name the project, but in terms of market cap right now is top 10, okay? One of the top 10. So you can guess because some actually you can't work for them, right? So uh,
I'm going to my
anyhow,
phone right now. I
yeah.
gotta have a brief reminder of who's top 10 right now, Alex.
I can tell you after the live show, okay? So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, yes, and I work there for like some time, and then I start to think, okay, well, there are many things that we can do in blockchain, and because my background actually come from games, come from app development. I used to have my own app studio and won international award twice in a row, and yeah, that's a very interesting experience. And so from that perspective, I really want to leverage on my understanding of blockchain developments, and also I mean programming, and also
Mhm.
understanding of games to do something differently. So that's why yeah, I'm here being a CEO and the founder of Poker Fantasy.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. I mean, like, it's crazy because all the projects that we're seeing come through like IDO right now, especially like with you and your team, you saw the
Yep.
vision before really it started to
Mm.
hit. Like it start to hit the
Mm.
hot market, right? And there's a
Yep.
lot of things to be said that projects that are as established as yourself, that have
Yes.
as the infrastructure that you guys have, the art that you
Mm.
guys have, because it's
Mm.
clear you've been building, right? And you've been
Yep.
building during times that necessarily maybe it wasn't the hottest market. Maybe it wasn't the most,
Mm.
had the most exposure because NFTs have been pretty
Yep.
niche kind of before this year, really, to be completely frank.
Mm.
And so there's a lot to be said because it tells you that you and your team have the vision and the know-how to see where the
Thank you.
market's possibly going to go before it even goes there.
Yes.
So that brings us to kind of the important aspect of what we're covering today. What is Polka
Okay.
Fantasy? right? That's why we're here.
Yes, yes, yes. So Poker Fantasy, in short, it is a Japanese theme cross-chain NFT marketplace in game. And why we are building this is because we think that while there are a lot of amazing NFT marketplaces out there, but when you look closely, you'll find that most of the marketplace they really focus on the crypto art, the Western art, but Japanese ACG culture, animation, comic, and game culture, is so popular, and
Mhm.
it's almost like you have so huge fan base in each country, and especially in Asia. So as a gamers myself, and also as a animation fan, I really want to see there is something for this kind of community. So that's why Poker Fantasy is born.
Yeah, and it comes to no surprise, obviously, that there are a lot of competitors in the market, being NFT marketplaces. So,
Yes.
since that's kind of the hot topic right now, can you talk a little bit about what Poco Fantasy does different from other prominent competitors? Because
Yeah, of
obviously
course.
there's a lot of saturation, but I think you guys have the
Yes.
skills and the skill set and the tools, resources necessary to really differentiate yourself. However, let's communicate maybe to the audience here why it is that you guys are special.
Okay, sure, sure, sure. Well, first of all, as I said, there is not much marketplace doing the ACG, Japanese ACG culture. And I think what we are trying to do is we try to bridge the non-crypto and the crypto world in a very meaningful way. So, because non-crypto people, especially ACG lovers, they are non-crypto people, first of all. And what we offer is actually what they cannot find in most of the NFT marketplace right now. And in addition, though I'm a big fan of a lot of NFT marketplace, I really love a lot of NFT marketplace, and I personally use them. But I find that most of them, they really have a limited NFT utilities. Most of them is like digital art. And we really don't want to expand on that. So that's why we are an NFT marketplace and also NFT games. And we really want to build a holistic system that we can smoothly integrate the NFT marketplace, providing the in-game assets and also like in-game items, weapons, characters, and also ACG NFT with a lot of utilities, which I will disclose in future, and also to bridge the game in a very meaningful way. So by doing that, we are actually not only building a marketplace or game alone, we are building a holistic ecosystem.
Yep.
And with the aspect of Japanese ACG, I think we can really attract a lot of non-crypto people to the project as well.
Yeah, Alex, I think that's critical, right? Because
Yeah,
I talk about it on my on these live streams every once in a while,
yeah,
but blockchain's hard. It's complex. It's difficult.
yes, yes,
So often, you have these frustrating conversations with people trying to figure out what the heck they're talking about. Google
yeah,
doesn't
yeah, yeah.
have much help. Then you have to talk to a dev who starts talking language 10 times over your head.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
necessarily comprehend where
Yes.
they're coming from.
Yep.
But it's critical. It's so important to talk about blockchain, and more so to make these processes really simple for people to use. And so it
Yes.
sounds like what you guys are trying to do is consolidate these experiences on the one platform, being the
Yep.
facilitation of these play to earn or even gaming
Yep.
mechanics with the
Yes.
NFT marketplace experience.
Yes.
And that's so important because it needs to be easy, it needs to be simple, it needs to be intuitive for
Yeah.
people to
True.
want to use it, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
so mad props, and then it's all underpinned by this AAG Japanese theme, which, as we all know and as we all see, is so pretty, so gorgeous, aesthetically
Thank
pleasing.
you.
There, Alex. Alex, quick question. I know maybe a little bit off the script here. Is there any place where audiences can go to kind of see more art on Polka Fantasy? Because obviously we want to make sure that there's exposure there, being
Yes.
some of the best art around, I would say.
Yeah, sure. So, of course, you can visit our website, PolkaFantasy.com, and then you may go to our Medium. And of course, we have our TG channel, Telegram channel, Polka Fantasy EN. So, basically, one news that maybe we new to many people is that, okay, we are going to very soon start the alpha testing of our marketplace. And once we started, you will see all this amazing art from PolkaFantasy world, and also a lot of amazing Japanese artists with their like ACG theme NFTs as well. So we really look forward, and we can't wait to show all the community about all this like amazing art from different artists. Yeah.
Awesome. Splendid. Glad to hear, man. That's awesome. That's a
Thank
very
you.
great answer. I mean, like, so often, you know, we talked a little bit about this before the live stream starts. I feel obligated to mention it because it's so important for people to recognize as they're in blockchain. There's a lot of projects with empty promises. They promise something that never comes to fruition. If you're a consumer, obviously not financial advice, be very wary of this because it's so easy to profit and rug pull. These guys aren't. PolkaFantasy has a working product. It's immersive. They've put the infrastructure in place. Very good team. I've worked with Alex very closely as we've kind of prepared for this. So you guys have the skill set, resources available and necessary to do what you're saying you're trying to do. And big fan of you, Alex. Even if I take myself out of the executive shoes on ChainBoost here, big fan of you and what you guys are doing. So props to what you're building.
Thank you.
Of course. And that kind of goes into, obviously there's this three pillars. We talked about it last live stream, being security, scalability, and decentralization. Can you talk about those three processes? Because decentralization obviously central to the appeal to blockchain, the conceptualization of what we're doing with blockchain, this peer-to-peer type of infrastructure. So can you talk briefly on those three pillars and walk us through what you guys are doing to kind of highlight that?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, let's talk about this decentralization part. So basically, well, our team is a strong believer of decentralization. That's why we are in blockchain, right? And so first of all, about the decentralization, well, as our project is a cross-chain NFT marketplace and game, so there are different approach of doing the cross-chain, and there is some centralized way and there are some decentralized way. So what we are going to explore is, of course, we want to go to the decentralized approach, and of course we are going to do it step by step so that to make it more safe and also to make it more user-friendly to the community as well. And one for the security, and we going to have a very straight like audit of all these like smart contract that on our platform, tokens and etc. And one for the scalability, as we mentioned previously, what we're trying to do is to bring the non-crypto people into our platform, our game as well. So that means we are not confining ourselves into a very limited set of people. We really try to leverage on something people love, Japanese ACG culture, to bring all these like non-crypto people into the platform, and then in order to increase the size of the pie, so that at the end of the day, all the crypto people and non-crypto people can really have a like true integration. And that's our vision, of course, and it cannot be done in like in very short time, but we really hope that with community support, with ChainGuardians support, amazing team, and then all these amazing people in the world, we can do this together.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, you nailed it on the head. Like, it's not, blockchain is facing a huge challenge. Being mass adoption requires collective effort, right? And so like there's this finite, it's kind of this juxtaposing concepts of how do I differentiate myself from competitors, do better than them, but also collaborate at the same time, because the overarching goal here is mass adoption, right? And I think you guys have created a really good balance between the two, because it's very difficult to know what that line is sometimes. But when you talk about the kind of the vision of decentralization, so it sounds like there's going to be continued iteration of developing user-oriented type of governance. Is that what I'm hearing there?
Yeah. And we really value the user experience, because I live in Japan for a long time, and I really understand the culture of Japanese. Japan is like the user experience matter most. So it's really important for us to make it step by step, and then also at the same time to do it with a great vision, so that people understand that where we are heading, and at the same time they know that we are bringing them in a very safe path, so that it can really be materialized.
Yeah, no, 100%. We're on board with we share that parallel. I firmly believe that a project is really only as good as the community it caters to. And what I mean by that is your community really sets the brand image. Your community sets the sentiment for what you're doing, lays the framework. You basically build up from there, right? And so that's why everyone in the chat here, whether it be from your community or our community, knows that our projects align because we focus on community-oriented initiatives, communication, iteration, etc. Because you don't have a product if you can't keep people on your product, right? So you know, for example, I'll give a quick shout out to our CM team, one of the best CM teams in the entire space, I think, and rightfully so, because people stay on ChainGuardians because of what we're doing with our community-oriented initiatives. And I know you guys have a very similar perspective, so props to you there. I see, just want to do a quick shout out to some people. Rich K, just make sure we do Kucoin events very frequently on live streams. The giveaway's not done. Make sure you save up some questions for Alex. We're going to have the community-oriented AMA at the end, and PolkaFantasy is going to sponsor some stuff for that too. So stick around, get those comments ready. You haven't missed out just yet. Professor T-Rex, #1 fan, ChainGuardians. I think you might have some people that'll try to fight you for that title, but good luck. The background, no dystopic future today. I had to go similar to Alex. I knew he was going to do a very similar type of PolkaFantasy theme background. But we do have some animated backgrounds coming up here in a bit. And let's see here. Yeah, that's awesome. So, like I said, everyone in chat, just make sure that you're sticking around because we are going to be doing some Q&A at the end, and Alex is going to be sponsoring some good stuff for that. All right, let's move on here. So, now that we've talked about security, scalability, decentralization, gaming is hot. Play to earn gaming is hot. Can you talk about what your vision is there?
Well, our vision is, first of all, let's talk about our team so that you know that where we come from. I'm a gamer have 30 years of experience. So, well, it's disclosed my age, but anyway. I've been gamers for more than 30 years. And our team, if some of the community members here read our article, they will know that one of our strategic advisor is actually from Square Enix. And he's the ex-COO of Square Enix, which made Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Chrono Trigger, and Romantic Saga. So that's why we are from a very traditional gaming industry as well. And our head of Japan is actually from SNK. So, well, you know, King of Fighters, Metal Slug, and also Samurai Shodown. So we have very deep experience of traditional game. So that's why we really want to build the games for normal gamers, but not only crypto game players. And in that sense, that's why we really want to spend more time to develop the games. But at the same time, by the end of this year, we will definitely roll out the testing version. We will have our playtest for our game. And well, it will be something like a 3 versus 3 battle, but with a lot of like gimmicks up our sleeves. So I can't disclose too much, but while we will have a land sale coming after IDO, so you know that we'll have like something the land sale is very special, but it's very important and very, how to say, very unlike the traditional blockchain land sale. But anyhow, so that's why we want to, and we will release something very soon, and also the gameplay will release a video maybe after our IDO.
Alex, that's exciting, man. Land sales are hot right now. I'm excited to hear what the special utility is behind it that you guys are doing differently, because again, it's all about adding unique value, adding value to consumers, and continuing to build off that value through feedback, right? So excited there. And you're saying that can you talk a little bit about how your NFTs will be integrated into the game, or is that maybe a little bit too far from what you're wanting to share about right now? Like what can they do in game? What brings utility to PolkaFantasy NFTs?
Yes. First of all, what I can share is, of course, if people have a look at our NFT sale, you understand that we'll have items, we'll have like weapons, we'll have the characters, of course, and we'll have goddess. So these are basically four kinds of NFT so far that we show that you can use in the game, and they serve different purpose. Okay, and we even release a tomb NFT for people who plays the big bit. Uh, so there is some special function of that, but I can't share too much yet. And of course, we have a lot of different kinds of NFT because, as I mentioned at the very early part of this video, what we want to do is to increase the utilities of the NFT as well.
Yeah.
So that's why we really want to bring all the fun around the NFT so that people know that, okay, it's more than a digital art. We want to provide a very beautiful NFT for collection value and at the same time for play to earn value.
Yep, 100%. So you mentioned this again. I'm pushing you a little bit here, Alex. Just tell me to shut up if I go too far. Okay. You mentioned play to earn. Have you deconstructed like models in terms of how much people could earn like in a given month or anything like that, or are we still going through just infrastructural changes before you roll that out?
Yeah, we're doing a lot of iterations of the play-to-earn model, and I think one of the important aspect of the play-to-earn model is how to sustain it in long term. So we are not going to like, okay, we make it very, very valuable like for the first few months, and then the tokenomics cannot support the long-term development of the play-to-earn model. So we are doing it very cautiously. At the same time, we are going to do it in a very playful way. So that's what I can share at this moment. And you will see more announcements in the future. And I think some of the announcements will be quite surprising to the community as well.
Alex, that's huge though. Like what you guys are hearing right now from Alex is that PolkaFantasy hasn't front loaded their hype for their IDO. They've given you enough to be immersed by what they're doing, to understand their brand, to comprehend what their vision is, but they've actually backloaded a lot of these efforts and announcements. So once they hit public markets, there's a lot of really user-oriented, user-friendly type of large-scale initiatives. For example, have you guys actually publicly announced the land sale yet, or is that some alpha that you just shared?
The land sale, actually, we put it in the roadmap. So if you look at it clearly, you can find that we put not the date, but the month of land sale. But of course, we are a company, a team that we really want to do it in the right way. So we want to do it step by step and not rushing out the land sale just because land sale is hit, it's hype. And we want to do it in a way that people understand the value of the land and also why we are doing land sale in the first place. And so it may still take some time. And, next week will be a big day for PolkaFantasy. So more announcement will come later. But I can disclose one, not disclose, but announcement for announcement. We'll have some very... I hate doing that.
I know, dude. I get it.
So what we are going to have is a very big news after IDO, and there are some also mega big news cultivating. So we hope people can follow us so that they can know this news firsthand.
So that's hype, first of all. Second of all, can you, to any degree, give people kind of an idea of maybe if they do want to purchase PolkaFantasy land at some point, can you give them maybe a rough idea of how much maybe they should start saving for?
Well, it's hard to answer. The reason is we really want to be inclusive. And at the same time, we want to make it like, okay, people who want to spend small can get, and people who want to spend big, they can also get something. So that's really, we are still thinking about that, how to do it in a very nice way, because we really want to value the community voice a lot. And well, that's why I urge people to go to our TG as well, because actually every day, I personally will be there to interact with the community. So if you have any suggestion, thinking that, okay, we should do it this way or that way, then please tell me, because our team is always listening.
So, Alex, we hadn't discussed this, but I think there might be kind of as we have very synergistic art. Let's see, maybe I can show the back of my shirt here real quick. I don't know if it'll actually show up or not.
Yeah,
It may or may not be worth some consideration of like a ChainGuardians Polka Fantasy type of art collaboration for merch. What are you thinking of that? Maybe we'll take it
Yeah,
offline.
Okay. You want to talk about that?
I'm thinking out loud. Like, I'm thinking out loud. There might be some synergies. That's all I'm saying. You know, and
Yeah.
I don't really rock the polo that great, but I definitely think that there's some solid opportunities for our characters to clash on the shirt, so we can sell some merch to our communities.
Yeah. We each other know we are talking what we are talking about. So
Yeah.
let the community guess.
Yeah, let the community guess. That's great. Awesome. So that concludes kind of the preset questions we had. We went a little bit off topic there. I see people are really excited about land, first of all, as they should be. I'm really, really interested to see how you guys roll it out, the different utility. And yeah, I do love my merch very much so. And I think we should have some merch updates. I know we're kind of in the process of sending out all the merch that has come through our platform. We did some merch giveaways, so a bunch of people are going to be getting merch here in the next little bit of time as we're launching that off. Alex, maybe we'll continue that conversation offline.
Yeah, sure.
This takes us to our community section, though. So any
questions
the community has, keep it appropriate. I may or may not ask, but it definitely depends on what Alex's perspective is. And if at any juncture I ask a question that you can't answer or don't want to answer, no worries whatsoever. We'll make sure that we stay in alignment with kind of what you're comfortable with here.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So I'll let the questions kind of roll in here real quick, just to give the community some time to. And Alex, I believe we're going to do 5 community questions, and we'll get some USDT for each question that we select, right?
Yes, sure.
Awesome. And while these questions roll in, where can people find you on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord/YouTube?
Yeah, well, you can go, first of all, if you go to PolkaFantasy.com, you can find all the social link at the bottom of our page. And of course, you can follow on our Twitter, PolkaFantasy. And it should be very easy to locate. And then while for the Telegram, if you're English speaker, you go to PolkaFantasy EN, stand for English. And then if you are Chinese speaker, you go to CN, something like that. And then we actually have like Chinese, English, Japanese, and Thai, Vietnam, and Turkey, and I think Philippines. Yeah. So just go to a quick search, and then you'll find our Telegram. Yeah.
Sounds like Polka Fantasy website is a place to go for everything you need. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So,
just go there and then you'll find it.
Just go to PolkaFantasy.com. I will give a warning though. If you're trying to find something specific, you'll probably get distracted looking at art. So maybe write yourself a note. Hey, I went to Polka Fantasy to find their Telegram or their Discord. Don't get too distracted by their art, because I know it is pretty simple and easy to do so. All right. So first question is going to be from Chris, I believe is how I pronounce his name. Can you tell us how Polka Fantasy will be implementing the different blockchains on your platform, and if that's in the goal for you guys?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I should say it this way. To be honest, while cross-chain technology is still starting, so that means many companies are working on that, and including us, and it's hard to do, to be honest. So let's say for the NFT marketplace, we'll try to start it as a multi-chain NFT marketplace, so that people can enjoy different NFTs on different chains. Because sometimes you go to one marketplace, they may only do like Ethereum, maybe they will only be on Polygon, or maybe they will only be on BSC. So what we try to do is something like aggregator, and then try to get a lot of like different NFTs, Japanese ACG theme NFT on our platform, with the corresponding blockchain. And then we will try to move from there to do the cross-chain thing. So it's a vision for us to do the cross-chain, but we are also very pragmatic enough to do it step by step, so that people can understand that we will have a best security and also best user experience in long term.
That's awesome. And I think it's critical, especially as we've talked about, to make these processes simple and easy for people. Chain
Yes.
interoperability is obviously a massive part of that, because I can't tell you how
Yep.
many times, people entering the space or buy something on like the mainnet, and then they're like, "What is Binance Smart Chain?" And then they're like, "This is way too hard." Like
Yeah.
the fact, like Web3 is still confusing. MetaMask is confusing.
Mm,
Swaps are confusing. Cross chain bridges are confusing. So like
yes.
creating that pathway there where people can interact with different chains on your
Mm,
platform is really really important. And so it's good to
yeah.
hear that that's your response, that you guys
Thank
recognize that
you.
that's something to look into. We
Yes.
have actually a lot of really good questions, so I'll do my best to kind of nail it down to the five that are maybe haven't been covered during the live stream. Obviously I do everything I can
Hmm.
to dig as
Yeah.
deep as
Okay. Okay.
possible for communities, but don't hate me if I get this name totally botch this name. How High. Jeez Louise, I sound like a dum dum. Asks, how does Polka Fantasy plan to distribute their NFT or products in the game? And if there's land, do you plan on being able to rent it to sell your items? I'm guessing
Yes.
is there some type of process, conceptually speaking, is
Mm,
there some type of process to be able to rent your land and or your items in the game as it
yeah.
rolls out?
Yes. Yes, I think it's a big part of play to earn game that you don't have to be aware or you don't have to have a lot of asset to in order to enjoy it. So as we mentioned at the very beginning of this video, we really want to have a best experience, user experience for people. At the same time, to attract non-crypto people into playing our game as well. So renting is definitely something that in our roadmap, and at the same time some people always ask, okay, how many NFT characters that I need in order to play the game? So, but we talk about free versus free, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
does it mean that we need free characters? So the short answer is no. Actually, we will implement a system that as long as you have one character or maybe even no character, but that has to be like more announcement nature, that you
Mm-hmm.
can start the game so that we are not like really ask people to invest a lot in the first place in order to play our game, because that will not be too scalable in long run. Because at the end of the day,
Yep.
some people cannot afford it, and then that means, do we push them away? And I think to be a fair and also user-friendly game, it has to be have a low entry barrier and at the same time
Yes.
have a very lucrative system so that to keep people in the game as well. So that's why we want to bring the crypto element, which is play to earn GameFi, and at the same time we want to enhance and actually maximize the playability with our knowledge of the traditional game industry, so that to merge these two parts into something that people never seen before. And this is our vision, and I really want to
Yes.
see if we can bring it to the community in near future.
That's really important. I think obviously from a consumer's perspective, you want to make the most amount of money on any given day. However, if you don't
Mm,
have a product because it can't scale, then you don't have the opportunity to make income long
true.
term, right? And so it's a
Yeah.
very finite balance.
Yeah.
No one so far has solved the issue of scalability plus play
Mm,
to earn. And I think Polka Fantasy, I think
yeah.
you guys have a good model in
Mm,
place. Obviously, I'm very, very, how do I say this? I have to be careful because if I use the wrong term here, legal's going to destroy me. I'm very, very optimistic. We'll go that route. That ChainGuardians has
okay.
also solved the very complex balance between play to earn and free to play type of
Yeah.
things. Because Alex, and what you're saying it right here too, man, is like it's not about being here for 6 days, 6 months. The vision's
Yeah.
being here past 6 years. It's to be
Yes.
that game, that platform that people come to 20 years
Yeah.
from now because they like the
Mm,
ecosystem that you focused on building out. And that's
yeah. Yeah.
exactly what
Yeah.
you guys are doing. That's exactly what we're doing. And
Mm,
that's part of the reason why we're here today.
yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Mm,
Wonderful, wonderful answer. We're going to go to Metallica, who's asking, seeing all those metaverses pop up, how do
yep.
you intend, if you do intend, to
Mm.
facilitate interaction between the metaverses and your piece of the metaverse? Are you guys building a metaverse, or is it land within the game platform? Because there is a distinction
Well,
between the two, right?
yeah. So basically, what we are trying to build is we want to bring a lot of elements into our game. So what we are building is not only a game. We are trying to build an ecosystem of games. and so that you know that there are different game modes, different way of playing it, and people is not going to the game just for pay to earn, just sitting there and then just click the button. What
Hmm.
we want is to build something that people enjoy, and people want to go around in this metaverse so that they know that well they have a lot of things to do. So if you take
Yep.
a look at like a lot of RPG, JRPG, or like uh, even action games like Monster Hunter, and they implement a lot of system that you are not just fighting the enemies. You
Hmm.
can do a lot of different other things to enjoy the world in it. And I
Yep.
think this aspect is very important to game because it sustains the playability of the game in long term.
Yep.
And if we are only do one game, one play mode, then people will get bored very soon unless, well, we are like distributing money daily, and
Yeah.
that's another story. But I think pay to earn is important, playability is important. That's why Metaverse is the bridge or is the mean to make it possible. Yeah.
That's a really good answer, Alex, and I think that kind of touches all aspects right on the head. So that's gonna that almost has pretty good synergies moving into our next question here, which is actually really important.
Mm.
I'm kind of embarrassed I didn't ask this question because it
What?
should have been kind of embedded into what we were talking about today.
Okay.
This comes from Chris O'Connor that asks, is there any advantage for users to hold both NFTs and the token? And
Yeah.
that I have a follow up on that. Can you talk
Mm.
about the utility of your token? What can people do with it?
Okay. First of all, I think to be a holistic ecosystem, you really have to build the value, cultivate the value for both the NFTs and the token at the
Hmm.
same time. Well, our token is XP. XP, if you play RPG, you know that it stands for experience point.
Hmm.
Okay, experience point. So what you can, first of all, let's talk about the XP, our token. So what you can do, of course, well, in future, we will sell packs in a special way, okay? And for some packs, you need the XP to buy it. So that is really limited or really give the, how to say, scarcity of the packs as well. And also because our token is XP, experience point, so that you can level up your NFT with the XP. And one feature, very, very special feature that XP on our marketplace is, let's say if, there are a lot of artists on our marketplace, right? And actually, there are, I think for many NFT marketplace, you always find that there are so many or too many artists, too many NFT creators. But with the XP, you can actually vote, and actually you can level up your favorite artist. So in that sense, basically, is a gamification that with XP you can really reward the artist that you love.
Hmm.
So I think there were a lot of things that we are going to implement with the XP, and there's only some of them. And one for the NFT itself, because it is some thing that you can put it into the game and then you can use it. So by combining the NFT and then the XP, actually you can do a lot of things in the games and outside the game as well.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that is the answer for now. Yeah.
That was such a good answer that you made me disappear. Yeah, my camera died, Alex. So unfortunately, you get to speak to the leaves for the rest of this interview. But that's perfectly okay because we're ending up to here. We got one more question, and then
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
and then,
Good.
and then I know you guys are obviously exorbitantly busy considering the obviously we're in the middle of this it's not the live stream but the IDO campaign. So
Mm.
the last question comes from us from Cocom Shop that asks, can you tell us some of the goals you would most like to achieve with PolkaFantasy? So where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's ideal for Alex being the CEO of PolkaFantasy? And then to
Mm.
follow that up, what's the biggest challenge you faced for kind of the inception of PolkaFantasy?
Okay, well, that's a good question. And actually, I always have a vision. When I start building the Poker Fantasy, I think that, well, blockchain games are awesome. But at the same time, most of the blockchain games are built by blockchain people. And now I think we are at the junction of like blockchain game like Generation 1.5, something like that. Okay. And what we are trying to do is we want to build the next generation blockchain game that will become a role model for upcoming blockchain games. So our vision is, well, basically very simple, but at the same time, we really need community support to make it materialize. We're trying to build the next gen blockchain game that really supplies people and also bring non-crypto people into the crypto world, so that people, when they play the game, they don't know this is a crypto game, but at the same time, they will benefit from all this blockchain technology bring to them, the value that blockchain bring to these non-crypto people. So the challenge that we are facing, of course, doing that is difficult because we don't have a previous model to follow, kind of. Of course, there are so many great blockchain games out there that we can we actually look up to, and because they are built by great team, great company, and but at the same time, we are trying to be innovative, creative, and that part is we don't have anything to look at to learn from.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge, and also being creative in a totally new genre of games is also somehow risky as well. But at the same time, we are quite confident that we can do it, because with all this strong team and the knowledge of the traditional gaming and the blockchain, I think maybe we can really do something that will make the community very, very happy.
You mentioned something that's so critical, so critical, Alex, and that's that this is really uncharted territory. I mean, like I said, no one's really put together the economics with the play to earn, as they are juxtaposing concepts. No one's scaled it. No one's done it right. And I don't mean to speak ill of anyone, and I'm certainly not going to name names, but there's a reason why there's still so much opportunity in this market, and that's because it hasn't been done properly yet. Like flat out. Now, people have brought wonderful exposure to the concepts, and people have good teams working on the concepts, and there's a lot of things out there. But when you look at the reality of something that right now has the empirical data to measure and say, hey, this is a sustainable long-term economic model, that's not quite in place. However, because it's not in place, you're 100% correct. No one has the model to mirror. No one has the model to mimic.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important that your community, and especially you, are in touch with your community and the feedback, because your project almost needs to stay in a constant state of iteration through social listening. Listening to what you're listening to what your community's saying, etc. And guess what? You do it already. You're in the Telegram every single night. I mean, I see you. I peek in there every once in a while. I see you, and I'm just like, hey, Alex. Alex, you're doing a great job. Are you sure you have time for this? Like, when do you sleep, Alex? How many? That's the last question I have for you. How many hours of sleep are you getting right now?
Well, I would say basically now I wake up until like 3 to 4 every night. Yeah. Wow. And even when I go to bed, I will go to the Telegram and then try to answer a few more questions before I sleep. So that's my life these days.
Oh, that's wonderful. But I mean, it says one thing that's very clear, is that you yourself are very hardworking, which is admirable from an executive level. Obviously, being CEO, being in there to not lose touch with your community. So very admirable there, Alex. As always, we're kind of on the end side of this segment, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to ChainGuardians, ChainBoost channel here. Alex, go to PolkaFantasy's website. You got all of their social medias. You obviously, from the way that this interview has gone, want to go over there, join their community, pay attention to what they're doing, because they've got a lot of fun things in the works. And Alex, do you have anything you want to kind of lay out with our community and audience here today?
Yeah, I think, what we want is community co-opinion. Our team really love to listen to community, and then we want to make the evolution every day. We want to evolve ourselves daily. So please give us the opinion, whether it's critical or supporting. We really want to listen to it. And I think together we can be all heroes in this PolkaFantasy world. And then we can make our own story together, so that to make a great quest for the future of the blockchain. And of course, together with ChainGuardian, because they are amazing team, and give your love to this team. And they are one of the most amazing team that I've ever seen.
Alex, you're so kind. I have to ask, based off the coattails of that, did you prefer the interview with the leaves, or did you prefer it with my face? There's no wrong answer here.
Well, even with your voice, so good. Yeah. But you are handsome, so you have to show your face, you know.
Oh, very, very kind. Thank you, Alex. All right, everyone. As always,
you.
thank you for joining us today. Make sure you get those. If you had a question that was selected today, make sure you get those Twitter handles to us in chat here so we can get those prizes to you. Have a wonderful day. And obviously, pay close attention to our socials and PolkaFantasy socials as we got a lot more to come. Alex, thanks so much for being with us today, man.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
注がれた光の雨瞳に映ったこの世界を守るため立ち向かうそれは心も痩せの隅でまた霞み始めてる決意揺らぎそうでも閉ざされた空その鍵を壊せばそう握られた刃はまだ持て余されて加速する共鳴が言霊を脈打たせてく注がれた光の雨瞳に映ったこの世界
き続ける
憎しみや恨みを生んでしまうのかもしれない正解のない世界に苦しんでそれでも受け止め我らは叫ばなければいけないんだ心が熱いって思い描いた自由への衝撃僕の意図であろう君の願いであろうそれがなめることはれと悔いなくなれることがいつの日かできな信じたのは一輪の花
触れてくれてその時に
あがいてもがいてまみれも読みながらも概念の中にわずか輝くそれをその手に掴み取り勝ち取るためには
また立ち上がる
思い描いた自由への勝利的な僕の血肉となり君の魂となりそれを固めることはれと悔いなくなれることがいつの日か的な熱さ探せが大輪の花エリメの中で掴んだ未来を注がれた光の雨瞳に映ったこの世界を回るため立ち向かうそれは心もやせがせナイトが市街の隅でまた
づける
憎しみや恨みを生んでしまうのかもしれない正解のない世界に苦しんでそれでも受け止め我らは叫ばなければいけないんだ心がうついて思い描いた自由への衝撃僕のエゴであろう君の願いであろうそれがなめることもあれと悔いやくなれることもいつの日かできな信じたのは一輪の花
触れてくれてその時に
あがいてもがいてまみれ迷いながらも概念の中にわずか輝くそれをその手に掴み取り勝ち取るためには
また立ち上がる
思い描いた自由への衝撃的な僕の自肉となり君の魂となりそれを奏めることはあれと悔いやくなれることもいつの日か的な熱さ探せや大輪の花永遠の中で掴んだ未来を注がれた光の雨瞳に映ったこの世界を回るため立ち向かうそれは心もやせがやせネオンライトが市街の隅でまた霞み始めてる決意揺らぎそうでも閉ざされた空